All right, that has been leveled. So we are all good to go here. We'll put the circle back in, make sure it was 7.5 feet from this post to the edge. Now they are taken apart because right now we are burying these deck blocks. And they have to be level with the ground because that's where these are going to sit, right on top of those. And so that will hold the weight of the columns that are going to go up. So we got a few more to do, and we're using these little trowels. All right there is my 2-inch mark, which is the same height as this block. I've already scribed around it. Now I get to dig in the ants. So all I'm doing is pushing this until that 2-inch mark, even with the ground. I'll just do that for the whole rectangle. All right, all of the block is down, level with the ground. Next move is going to be get the circle back centered off of that screwdriver. All right, we got the ring back together, and we got it staked with screwdrivers at every section to keep it in place. The next move will be putting up the wall, and that's going to have to be done earlier in the day because of all the steps that need to be done. All right, we've got stakes around it and clamps. So as we reel this out, we can clamp it to posts to help hold it, because the wind is supposed to be 3 to 4 miles an hour today, and it feels like it heads on up to more. It's a beautiful day. I don't want to waste any more time. Here we go. Yeah, we did it. Is it 10 minutes? Was it that long?
Not that.
These posts, these are 2x2s, hammered into the ground, and these clips are essential to keep you from having to have 15 head of people. So if you're putting up one of these pools, this is a Riviera model, we could not get these to line up. So what I had to end up doing was cutting off about 1.5 inches off the bottom of both of these plates here. And when I say the bottom, it's the end that has the 2 holes right beside each other. See how the top doesn't, but the bottom side did. And I had to cut about 1.5 inches off of each one, and then the holes would line up. Because we must have fought this thing for about an hour. Very frustrating when the holes won't line up. But it's all good now. Let me show you the inside. So here is, well, I guess the ground rug. I can't remember what it's called right now. But you lay this down. This is 15 foot. Take your shoes off. You see all these lines here? This actually has sat in the box for a couple months. So that's the paper that was inside. And maybe where the water had gathered when it rained. It won't be a big deal, it'll be covered up. So now I'm about to grab the cove, which is in there, and you see that tape right there. That tape is for that seam. We gotta tape it over 3 layers thick. So when putting up the foam cove, you can see that there's a notch here, and there's a sticky side. The sticky side goes up, notch bridges this here. So you lay it down, just like that. All right, the cove goes in less than 5 minutes. This is the last piece we did. We had to trim it to fit. All right, next up is this foam here. See, it's not real thick. So that goes on the wall, and so there will be that little bit of foam between the liner and the wall, so to make it a little more soft. And this is adhesive spray, extra strong. You spray that on there, and then you roll it out. It got dark on us last night, but I had already put these together, and instructions said 1 screw to hold this on, and they pop in to the bottom there. And actually, the lip goes over there. And this is just to give it some stability, since we had to leave it overnight. And of course, you know, the wind, they said it was not supposed to be any overnight. And not sure if there was or wasn't. There is a very light breeze right now. You can see nothing that I'm worried about. So it survived overnight with the post and with the timbers and the clamps. And now, I'm going to open up this box here and spread out. This is a liner. I'm going to let the sun warm it up some, make it a little more pliable. Getting it opened up, and go a little further, we can get it spread across the bottom of this thing. All right, so it's spread out pretty easy. So just hold the side and kick that seam right there. It needs to be where that trade cove is, and do that all the way around, and do it without shoes on. So now I need the plastic. So when I bring the liner up, we can put the plastic bead up on top. That way it doesn't hold it really tight, and we can start putting some water in. Now we're filling it with water, and if you didn't have to go to the bathroom, you're probably there now. So hit pause, go get some relief, and we'll be right here. All right, so we got black ribs on there. Yeah, there's still a few wrinkles, but it's not like it was, and the water will straighten those. And so then, this rail here that keeps the pool round, you're supposed to have this on before you get over 12 inches. That's about how much we got in there. Very important, and is to have a mallet. And when you put these joints together, hammer them in. You see how much is sticking out there? Now that was our last one after we took it all back apart. And this is the one next to it. You see how close that is? We had to hammer them each in because I thought it was okay to leave that little bit sticking out there, and it was not. And so over the circumference of the pool, left about 6 inches overlap here. And so I had to take this cap back off. And then you have to put it back on and hammer each one in. Very important.
Trophy wives.
Trophy wives, that's right. All right, so here's the where the skimmer goes on the back, and that's the return from the pump. You gotta stop the water 3 inches underneath this, so this can get cut out, and you can put a bulkhead in, and then this can get cut out, and you can put the gasket up, and you can put the skimmer in. So what I've done is I put a piece of tape over here that can be easily seen from the porch over there to know when to stop the water. So I got the hose back in there, and it's run to one of these posts and clamp. And what I'm going to do is we're going to back it up. I'm going to try to back it up. All right, there we go, a couple clamps on that post. Gets it about. We'll know to check it, and we don't hear this water pouring anymore. All right, getting these top rails on is a pain. You're going to have this hole open so you can put on these pieces. So you've got some adjustment. You got to make sure your posts are where you had them originally, and you got to make sure they're level. So that's a large feat to get to do, especially when you already have water in. But now, you need a 1 inch and 2 1/2 inch. Got those little hooks there. Those little hooks, you grab up under, and your hole's exposed. You put this screw in there. All right, so don't torque it down. It needs to be a little loose because this piece here has these edges that needs to slide up under that. And so you don't want to smoke it down, and then you can't get it, the outside piece of the clamshell on. I probably ain't going to do this one-handed, but that's how you do it. And once you get it on, there's these holes on the side, and you're going to screw it into those holes here, and then that post there is in one of those. So I got the return port put in. Sorry I didn't record it, but I remembered to record just as I got done finished cutting this one. And see how I've got that about 3/4 to 1 inch above. Well, I guess inside of the hole all the way around. And then the foam I've cut back, so it's a little bit bigger piece. And then X these, so that way that can fold in. Because this is the back side of it, the return of the skimmer basket. This is the side that faces the pool, and it's got a double gasket there. So I'm going to have both hands to do this next part. All right. What I did is I fed the top 2 corners in, pushed this against there, and then held this up to the back side and started both of those top screws. That way it would all hang together, and then I added in the bottom 2. Now I'm going to do the rest. This is what you got on the back side. And that little bit of pull liner, I couldn't get it to tuck under. It would just get trimmed off. All right, time to squeeze these tabs and get this put in. The foam faces the back. All right, floating door is in. Basket in. Put that on the top. So here's the other end on the skimmer and return side. So now is when I have to start planning where I'm going to put the pump and the sand filter. And this here is about 25 inches off the ground. So if I make a trap door in this area, it could be lifted up. The deck boards could get lifted up, and you could adjust the top of the sand filter. And that way they can sit here close to the edge. If it's running, you don't hear it on the porch because it's kind of blocked by the body of the pool. Now that skimmer basket being, it's about 6 feet away, 6.5 feet, and putting the pump here, the sand filter will work because we're running these joistle 16s. So that'll leave this area here open. And so that trap door, whichever way I decide for it to open, will be here. The salt cell will be here, and the control panel, which may go there, may go here, for the salt cell. So this will be the area where all that goes. And then you got the which will filter for the water coming in the house here. So this whole area with the mechanical side. Well, it's time for the pump to get a form put down, some cement, so I can get it in place with the salt cell. This water's been in here for 2 weeks, and it's getting a little tinge of color on the bottom. So it's time to get everything working. All right, I got poured in. I'm going to do a dry pour on this. You got to get that leveled out. Start with the water. All right, there is the ugly little slab. And I've got the drains for the pump and the sand filter facing out, so they're easier to get to. And opening this up to clean that filter. And there'll be a trap door from above to rotate the handle. So now it's time to start plumbing it over there. The skimmer is going to come to the front. This is going to go up to here. This one is going to loop back around, and the salt cell and the flow switch will be on it, and then it'll go right back over to that one. All right, it's been a few hours. Got it plumbed in. There's the valve with the union. Love those. That way, I got to pull that pump out of there. Runs up to the skimmer, then there's the return. Runs over here. There's another valve. That way, we can isolate this whole pump system. Flow switch is here. Salt cell. Added some support under it. And that's the waste. That's where the pump filter discharges. That's where the pump sends it into the filter. Big old pot of broth here. How fast will it mix? Sprayer's under. Spider's nervous. And it is just about to spill inside the skimmer.
The teenagers hang out and all that. And on down the river a little bit, there was these cables that went across the river. And there was one strand on the bottom. And
alright, so here's where I got the control panel until I get a permanent place. So it was giving me error codes, and all I did was plug it in. But this is what the error code was. That little jumper, which is right inside of here, this thing was wired for 230, and it had an extra jumper right there, and I had to jump it out like this. And once I did that and cut it on, now it's showing me 3700 salt level, and it is super chlorinating, and salt is at the middle level. Alright, there's a little bit of salt left to be melted. The water is up almost, I guess about an inch from the top. So, you see it's kind of got a brown tinge to the bottom. It's supposed to rain tomorrow. So if it is, I won't be here to check it out. So, it was a chance to rain yesterday, so we didn't come over, and it didn't rain at all. But we got a few things done, and now the rain's here. But you can see the pool is cleared up. Well, actually, let me show you through the sunglasses. You can see that dark spot right there in the bottom. That is the silt it's collected from being over here, all the dust. But that brown that was all down there, just about gone. So tomorrow we'll get this covered up as well, and we can start building the tower, jump tower, and then where the stairs are going to get hooked up. Sunk the stairs in yesterday. Don't have any step ups yet, but got a little something so they can get in and out. That's a salt cell brain. And I'm in the process of building the steps in the little jump platform for a little turn. Gotta be able to cut that out to get that skimmer lid off. Alright, we got these cut up today. Hinges down here. I gotta loosen that, see if it'll relax some. Hinges on the back. just lift it up, drop down. I forgot about this. I've got the top screwed down. It hinges here, so there's a whole bunch of little holes, but it was a high spot. I'm actually going to have to grind that down with the flat disc so the backside sits flush. See, it's sitting up a little now. And now, tomorrow, I'll encase all of that so you can't see in there. So now we're back over here. I know I showed you the trap door a little bit ago. And here's the steps. Kind of moved those out a bit. And I closed in the fronts there. And took the hinges off of this. So I repurposed the hinge sideways. So it kind of made that a little more rigid. And there we go.
Hello? No, I'm here.